Welcome to the Niels van Roij Design channel and welcome to the Breadvan Hommage. And today I'll talk you through what the proportional statement of the Breadvan Hommage actually does for the car. As you know, we obviously are forced in a way to use the hard points, for instance, the position of the A-pillar, the position of the wheels within the body, all the other elements like where the body stops at the bottom here, and basically roughly the rake there. But within that we have quite a bit of freedom, so we are resurfacing, reskinning the car. And what is important to see then is where the proportions of the base vehicle bring us. So these would be the wheels. Let me just quickly outline that for you. This is roughly the belt line. There's a bit of three-dimensionality, the door there. Let's make a suggestion of a bit of a hip there. So there you go. This is in a way what we had. So this is what the hard points are in the base car, which brings us to our Breadvan Hommage. It's not an entirely clean sheet of paper, but this is, for car designers, this is normal. There's never a 100% white sheet of paper unless you're working on a concept car or something like that. So what was next was determining the roof line. Let me just copy this, and the rake. So the rake is the rear end, how it is positioned within the car. So here you've got the basic setup of that, and let's have a look at the next car, because you see it's a lot more up straight there. And this is really where you're going to see all the differences in the sketches. So what you're going to see in the proportions are how far can we push that roof down, how far should we push it up, make it straight, obviously not up as in going up like that, but going up from the original base car, which obviously was a coupe, which sort of ended like that, and then it had a boot somewhere there. What can we do with that roof line, and what can we do with the rake? These are very important questions. Where do we take that? Do we take that backwards? Do we take it towards the front of the car? Do we make it lean over like that? You just see a couple of different ideas here, and not just the rake, but also the way that flows into, for instance, the shoulder. How three-dimensional. For let's have a top view look, right? So this is the back of the car, and this is the actual body of the car. This is an old-fashioned way of designing a car. The original car from the 60s, they have a side view, a rear end that is straight, they have sides that are straight, but this is a more modern interpretation. So let's push the sides out a bit. The wheels will be here, so let's taper it in, and let's see what we can do with the overhang. Imagine the roof would be something like that, and then you have the shoulders there, but maybe this point should be out there. So what we've designed here in a side view would be something like this, because it's raking like that. So this is that point there, and then we're going to the hips somewhere there, and that is what you're seeing here. So again, on the top view, this may be an interesting look, but it's gonna do something completely different, right, with the rake of the rear end there. So these are important questions that we ask ourselves. And apart from the proportions of the outline, right, so the roof, you can see it's sloping, but how much is it sloping? This is a very interesting two-dimensional flow of lines, where the hip then flows into what would be called maybe the bumper. In our case, it's not a separate piece, so everything will be integrated into the metalwork. And then we're also looking at the graphics of the car. So the graphics are, for instance, this sort of visor-like window area that really runs around the entire car. So again, looking at it from top view, we'll have a roof here. In the old, let's say, current base car design, you have the A-pillars, and this runs around like that, and it has a flow. Again, in side view, that would be something like that. And that's obviously not what we want. We don't want to have that separate windscreen versus the flow in the arch there. We want this hard visor look. So what we're doing with the Breadvan Hommage, and again, this is one of the first things we decided doing at looking at the hard points. At that point, we had a look at the A-pillar and how we could basically hide that. You see that in a couple of other designs as well. So it's not that we've reinvented the wheel. Think of a Range Rover, of a new Mini. They all have that visor-like design for the front end. In our case, we wanted to do that because looking at the original Breadvan, it had that super straight roof area. If we would have this flow in the glass there, it would look super odd. You have the flow in the glass and then this straight roof. We wouldn't be able to solve this issue basically aesthetically. So most of the initial ideation sketches you see here have that straight roof line. Sometimes it dives in a bit harder, a bit faster. It comes together a bit faster, and in some cases it's a bit more formal. And you can see going through these sketches, we have these different rakes right here. In this case, the rake is going that way quite strongly, specifically towards the top. In other ways, it has this softer treatment there, and we're looking at the entire package. So like I said, it's roofline, it's the rake, it's the graphics of the windows, but also air intakes and air vents. What we're trying to do is bringing the base car to a new level, if you like, as in it has to remain a consistent piece of design. So with having this large surface area here, which is super typical for the original Breadvan, it was not there because of aesthetical reasons whatsoever. It was just and purely there because they wanted to have that straight roof line and this harsh tail, cam tail, because of aerodynamic reasons. The harder that point is, the more aerodynamic it is, and this was in the days quite a novel idea. And it leaves us with this sort of station car surface, but we obviously can't put a window in there to break up that surface. So what to do with it? One of the ways of solving the fact that it's very flat, or if you don't do anything with it, is putting air vents in there. Here you can see how they're super sculptural, right? So they move into the door, so this is the actual vent. But that's a very three-dimensional way of solving the area that casts a shadow here on top and is the highlight here on the bottom. And then we can obviously take that idea and put that into the vents there, and here. And you can see that with every single sketch, that's something we're looking at, how to make that consistent. Are we gonna follow the rake of the window there, which is also new compared to the base car. And then here you see these sort of shark gills, and they are repeated over there. So the same rake of the vents there. And here another version again, these two gills still, but then they're being taken, basically pushed all over the door and create a more horizontal look. You see very thin, almost like slots here, and then just lines in the bodywork breaking up that surface. Another different idea here with a roofline that is way more coupe, fastback-like. Let me compare that to this idea there. I mean, you see there's a massive amount of extra material on top there. This is not necessarily a Breadvan anymore. This is getting to a point where it's so fast. It's interesting perhaps as a design, but not a Breadvan. It is really a time of experimenting. All these ideation sketches. Here you see, and this was one of the sketches I was actually looking for. Here you see one of few sketches we only made with that original A-pillar being still red. So having that coupe-like roof section there, point is more up and out compared to the original coupe, which was more or less something like that. So there are still significant changes there, but you can just see it's a bit more common like that. And I really believe that changing that graphic into that more aggressive visor runaround, but also more simplified, cleaner, a new character, I think it really helps the design. So although we did some experiments with a visible, let's say, A-pillar, a non-floating roof, it doesn't work that well. So here a quick overview of some of these side views. You see as well, like this one here, with a super aggressive rake. This one way more up straight, a very formal roofline, very straight. He will get a wall full of sketches, A3 sketches, side views only, and we help him with pointing out a few so-called designer picks where we say, okay, have a look at this car, have a look at this car, have a look at that car, because these are either things that you ask for or things that we initiate. And you can, for instance, see the difference in rake. That's quite significant. And also how graphical elements breaking up that rear quarter really either make the design a bit more stiff or a bit more sporty or a bit more like the original. In this case, you can see this super fastback rear end, and while the sketch is small for a reason, that was skipped quite quickly. But again, it's just good to have it there so you can compare it to all these different takes. It's a real search for proportions, search for harmony within the design, because we cannot deny the base car underneath, and we have to work with that, and we have to see how we can take that base car from what it is, a beautiful piece of design, but still it is just our base car. It's the tool we use to design and develop a car, basically. So how can we push that towards proportions, surfacing and jewelry in the end, so the details that match what we have in mind for our Breadvan Hommage. And these overviews are helpful to show some of the ideas. It's a small portion of the design, but I think you get a bit of an idea of what we did and how we did it. The more you look at these sketches, the more you can see, for instance, little kick-ups here that connect the car through the rear wheels in this case, or even through the front wheels, to make one car a more holistic piece of design. You've got these little light catchers there. Let me zoom in a bit on the sketch on the bottom here. So light catchers, elements that catch the light, right? So the light just falls on top of it. These are all light catchers. Every car has light catchers. The surface on the shoulder here, the surface there with the air vents, and that lines up exactly with a light catcher right in front of the wheel. That would be seen as one design, one flow, one form, one shape. And you can see a similar connection being made to the roof there, with lines in the roof, facets in the roof. It just helps tying a car together, and this is a very common in car design. You see a lot of modern car design specifically doing that, just to make it a bit more sculptural, a bit more one piece of design. So you've had a bit of an idea of the overview of ideation sketches for our Breadvan Hommage, and like I said, it's only a small portion of the work done, but it does give you an idea of the search. And in the next video I'll discuss how we made a selection of these sketches and how we push them forwards into renderings, into basically the final car in the end. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, leave a comment, and see you in the next video.